All right. Well, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everyone here to our special board meeting, and I would like to entertain a motion to order and approve the agenda as presented tonight, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Diane. May I have a second? Thank you, Sally. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Passes unanimously. We are going to enter into executive session right away, and Diane, do you want to read that?
Yes. Madam President, I move that the board recess into an executive session to discuss the following subjects: employees' employment performances, employment recommendations. The justification for this executive session is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under KOMA. The open meeting will resume in the Board of Ed community room at 6:10 p.m.
May I have a second? Thank you so much, Sean. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you so much. It does pass unanimously. See you all at 6:10.
Rhonda, I think October 2nd, and I don't have any notes.
You do. Carly and I.
Generally, we typically put here first, and then I will find it, like, it's not old, she knows
She's only right. I made sure that she got mom got just as much attention as those babies got. They feel better.
So could you? No,
It's genetic. It comes from the genes.
yeah, so it's not, it's
Or Chris
unless they do. I had to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, so,
She, it's coming up with some cases. I'm like, no, nothing. What? No, nothing. That was what I learned.
they probably come back
And make sure that you do have a good place. You go to church. Yeah. It does work out. Such a bad agreement for me.
I couldn't find it. We went all the way back to October, so I don't know whether it could be before that. There were
it's a
things on it.
I thought it was like a, some kind of shaped.
With those sheet shirts on, it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
but that could have been
Three, what is
sheets
the
of
date?
September to what,
Four.
February?
Yep.
Roughly?
Perfect. Yeah, I was about to say no. Thanks.
How about like, I don't know, what about something like this where the basketball team is high five?
I used that one.
Did you use that one?
Yes, that's on here. No, I'm glad you brought it, I mean, that's.
No, and I can't find it on Twitter, so I'm gonna have to go over to do.
Yeah, it's on.
Does Ashley Middle School have its own?
Well, they have their own Twitter account, but it's all athletic.
I don't think I would have gone there anyway. I either went to Renee's and I would put it in to see it for
Did you use any of these? Oh, maybe. This is Scholars Bowl. This is Scholars Bowl. Middle schoolers. No. And then I do have a big one of Central with the one in this. They're up there.
Because my thoughts are, if we can't find it on there,
Well, it must be buried enough.
Right.
And it's probably not on Facebook.
We
It's
just
probably on
need to get
Twitter.
on the
He
board.
probably doesn't.
Right.
He probably isn't. You know what I mean?
use something differently.
Yeah. But yeah. What about this year? Got this is okay.
whatever you guys want.
That's at least with the cow in the back. You want to hear the cow in the background?
You're probably not gonna see it with that, one.
Yeah.
On the big one, you can mine on the little.
Is your air drop on? Well, this new thing, you have to have contacts on.
Do you have my cell?
I can email it to you.
Or here, just let me tell you on the cell. I'm just looking at
It should, okay, then I would.
44, 57.
Yes.
Oh, this would be a fun one. Very great, good grad pictures.
Okay.
This is for the graduation picture. I mean, I'll keep this on the page, but if you ever close it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I sent the wrong one. But it's it. Yeah. It is.
Perfect. And honestly, for what I did for the minutes, so we just kind of look it up. So we'll want to see how it goes.
She's having other issues.
Yeah. I know that story. So I do have some
Last week. She was going to be able to talk about
I don't know if I have any closer up than this, but I was sitting on the stage, so it's.
I just put it here.
Let me find a good cap for that.
Sure, if you have one.
Jug in, I just didn't. Why didn't she say it? Guess they haven't got food on for you.
What about something like that?
Totally.
That good?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll use that one.
Okay.
They grounded her.
Is anybody else going to be at that podium?
Do it now?
Is anyone else going to be at that podium?
Nope.
I'm just going
Yeah, all you.
That's a unpredictable.
Show me yours.
Never know, yeah, never know what you're gonna get.
That's right.
It could be, you know, just stepping up.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I like your shoes, don't you?
Thank you. These were my retirement gift from Shutting Mission, so it's the 5 high schools.
Ah, yes.
The board body party.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a fun party, yeah. Are you sitting in our seat?
She just floated.
If I Google it, it comes right. If I just
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna think every time I see you. I know what that is.
Oh.
You are the funniest person. You don't even mean to be funny.
I know.
You're fun. Fun.
Okay, we are back in session. It's 6:10, right on time. Good job. So I would like to have Dr. Michelle come and visit with us about our superintendent search. And thank you, Dr. Michelle, for being here.
Oh, you bet, and thank you guys for your continued.
You turn on your mic.
Yes. That'll cover up.
There we go. And yes, I would just like to thank you guys for your continued trust in KASB. We're glad we can be here to support you in whatever needs you have. So on the positive, congratulations, Renee.
Yes.
On the not so positive, we have to be here to support you to find a new superintendent. I know it's really hard when you have an amazing superintendent. So I just want you guys to know that we will from today forward support you through whatever we can to help you to ensure a great process. So I have a lot of documents in front of you, but this, there are 2 books in front of you. There's one that's more like a pamphlet. That's what I'm mostly going to be talking about. The second one is more as a resource guide as you move through the process. So if you'll just open to the very front page, and on that gray section, it pretty much highlights the entire process. So there are 5 phases. And one other thing before we start, if you have specific questions, I would suggest that we go into an executive session. I mean, if you get into nitty-gritty questions, I want you to always feel like you have that option, because it's sensitive, right? And especially if there are internal candidates, which obviously if you're looking at that, you feel like you have some internal candidates. So I just want you, if in doubt, if you even think for a second then you probably should, okay? So in the 5 phases, the announcement and the timeline, I've really sort of already created a really solid draft in regards for this so that we could start this as early as tomorrow with either search. So the timeline is different for each of them, but I have a draft timeline for both of those. But the timeline takes us through these processes. So I'm going to keep going. So developing characteristics. If you do an external search, this is definitely a process that I would encourage you to go through. You could also do it with an internal. The prices that I quote not doing this focus groups on an internal. That's really the biggest price difference. So this would be where we would meet with groups of teachers, parents, even kids sometimes, if that would be up to you all on what you wanted to do in regards to that. And we would look for the characteristics that you would want in a new superintendent. We would provide a report to the board. We would actually give it to potential candidates that would be applying so they know a little bit more about Atchison and what characteristics that you all are looking for in your next superintendent. Interview process, in the bigger book that you have in front of you, there are numerous questions, too many, quite frankly, for the interview process. So I would really help you narrow that down to be able to ask the questions that you are important, appropriate questions, because we want to keep you out of any legal troubles. So there are questions you absolutely can and questions you absolutely cannot ask in an interview. So we would work through all of that with you. I actually like to create a rubric for boards so they kind of have, during the interview process, have note-taking, can kind of write how they answered the question. And then the negotiations and hiring. At that point, the board president and board vice president will really kind of take over negotiating that contract. But I'm on the phone with that board president a lot during that process, whether it's texting or in person, and supporting them as much as I can through that process. And then the final part of the process is once that new superintendent is hired, I would come back in June, July, August, and meet with the board and the superintendent to set goals so that everyone's on the same page to ensure a great first year. So with that being said, I want to specifically look at the timeline, and let's start with the just the external search, which is what we would typically do with KASB. I have condensed this timeline a little bit. We would usually keep it open a little bit longer than I'm recommending, but that's mostly because of the time of the year that we are in. It's late. And so the sooner we can hire a superintendent, the angst in the district will go down. I mean, it's always, people get, I'm sure you all are feeling the same sorts of anxiety about change is hard, even if it's good change or change that we don't want, it's difficult. So I crunched this down on the external search with a closing date of April the 11th, and then hoping to hire on or before May 12th. I would honestly hope that you would hire by May 1st. I just gave you time to set up that special board meeting because I tried to follow your timeline and it looks like you wouldn't have a meeting there, so that would require a special board meeting. And then those focus groups on April the 9th. Again, these are just potential dates. I would need to work most likely with Renee to talk about what works for the district and what works for buildings. And then if you look at the internal timeline, Dr. Nugent, just a second to get it up there, you will see that I have it closing on April the 4th and then hiring on or before the 21. Again, these are all potential. This one, we could probably tighten even closer. If you wanted to announce someone before that, we could probably get this timeline even closer, close it in a little bit more. The external timeline, we might be able to close it a little bit, but it would be pretty difficult to get it much tighter than I already did. So with that being said, let's stop and see if we have some questions.
Well, I think when we, last time, I think Brian Jordan helped us, but we had, it was an external search. And when the potential superintendents came in, there was a specific thing we followed during the day. Would we do that for external or internal, either one?
So for the focus groups or for the interviews?
For the interviews.
For the interviews, yes, you could do it either way. So if you did it internally, obviously they might not need to tour buildings and things
Right.
like that. So they would look differently, but again, we can build that however you want to do that. So likely, we mostly do external searches. KSB typically does an external search. And we would have like a meet and greet. We would have them tour buildings. They might meet with the current CFO and superintendent for a briefing about the budget, things like that. And then they would interview with the board at night. So it would be an all-day process typically. And some of those sample schedules are in this.
Okay.
There's a couple back there that you could choose from. And then other people build their own, completely build their own. So we can work through all of that.
Do you know how many, offhand, how many vacancies there are in the state currently?
The last time I was asked this question, which was early January, we were at 28. So I'm going to guess over 35. Now, a lot of those are filled at this point, obviously. In competition with this particular superintendency, I know the Wamego search is open. That's Smoky Valley, but Emporia, a lot of those are closing right now. So as newly opening, you're not going to have a lot. But on the flip side of that, that means close to 35 people have either been hired or switched positions. So it is late in the game in regards to that. I can tell you, when you have a great school board and a great superintendent, you're going to get a lot more candidates. I just finished up Prairie Hills, which is not too far from you all, and they had great applicants. And it was late, but they still had great applicants. So I anticipate you all to have great applicants. I've already fielded 2 phone calls from sitting superintendents asking about this position, and I've just told them I don't have those answers yet. So I think you would get applicants if you were to open it. If you have internal, great applicants. I've seen that process work exceptionally well also.
My question, if we hire, the board approves the contract on or before May 12th, what does that timeline look like after that? Like, how much time do you give before you switch jobs? I know like some executive positions have it written in, you have to give like months worth of notice, so.
Almost anyone you hire is going to be under, at minimum, a June 30th contract in their current district. Now, that doesn't, I would say the transition starts the day after they're hired. I mean, in regards to working, I mean, I would want to get a hold of Dr. Nugent and have as much time with her as I possibly can, and knowing her, probably for the next year, she can support this person, which is great. But they will likely be under contract until June 30th.
Any other questions? I would like to go into executive session with Diane.
Madam President, I move that the board recess into an executive session to discuss the following subjects: employees' employment performances, employment recommendations. The justification for this executive session is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under KOMA. The open meeting will resume in the Board of Ed Community Room at
What do you think? 20, sorry, 20, and ask.
I
Yeah.
can go to this.
20 minutes, I think, is fine.
Okay.
So we'll resume at 6:40. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah.
Can I have a sec? Thank you, Sean. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you need me.
You what? What thing?
I didn't mean it that way.
No.
No, I would have said it that way.
I know. She'll be fine. She's just have to, maybe get have some consistency. Would be really good. But a bit in and out of the hospital and here and there and all that kind of thing. And so. She'll be fine. Oh no, she's scared. Yeah, I ran home before, right before I came, just back. Because she said, I don't want to throw up. Okay, well, let me get you some.
Okay, let me know that worked for you.
Better go home and give her a thing.
You guys gotta come over, Wednesday, have you guys down for to meet with them.
Sure, with 8th grade, Wednesday, what, afternoon?
Yeah, I have you and Chad coming over, and to, you guys come over, you want to send a Zoom?
Huh?
Want me to send a Zoom link, or you guys want to come over?
I don't want to speak for both of us.
Okay. I mean, it's at 2, so I don't know if he needs to be there to check on PLCs.
Yeah. Better ask.
I can, well, do this, I'll send a Zoom link, and then we can kind of talk and see.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And then Lindsay also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that, I think I added her to the.
It'll be here before we know it.
Are you from, oh, we have 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound like an auctioneer, don't they? So we had quite a good discussion in the back and feel there's 2 different ways we can go, internal and external. And I think the most of us chose to go an external route, even though we have phenomenal internal candidates. We just felt the community transparency in our community and doing things open. What are your thoughts?
I think that we truly, are excited about our culture that we have here. And, Renee leaving is going to be detrimental to us. But I feel like she has, she's done a lot to bring in the next person for them to learn and to continue that culture. We do have some wonderful internal candidates that we do hope apply. But we feel as a board that it would, with all transparency, be great to the community that we open it up externally so that we can just make sure that we fill the big shoes that Renee is leaving. So,
And we wanted the community to have an opportunity to give us their feedback like we have done in the past, and we want to give them that opportunity.
KASB has a wonderful process and it has given us some great recommendations of a timeline and things of that nature. So I'm excited to go through this, and I echo the encouragement of our internal applicants to apply.
We're ready to learn.
Someone make a motion?
I make a motion that we vote to hire externally for the superintendent position. Oh, to open it up, not hiring yet. Jumping the gun.
Open up our superintendent search.
I second that.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much, it does pass. Then we need to talk about dates, and let's get this, everybody have your phone and stuff that we can start looking at dates.
Yeah, I would like to finalize this timeline, and then I'll need to work with Jeanette and Renee on the flyer first thing in the morning to just, the one that's in there is missing some information in regards to the budget, so I'll need to throw those numbers in. But other than that, we should be able to get this posted as early as tomorrow afternoon. Well, we'll get it posted immediately, and then we'll get the flyer up by tomorrow afternoon. So we'll get it posted first thing.
When you say post, where do you post?
Yeah, great question. So we will post the KASB on our website. We have open positions. Additionally, we post on the USA website. We post with it's called NASH, National Association of Superintendent Searchers, so it will actually post nationally. Sometimes we'll post on the AASA board. So we kind of look at the timing of the year and whether we think it's worth it to do that. We also will do a social media push. I'll create a posting for social media. And then you all would also be able to use that posting and put it on your social media account as well.
And you rattled off a lot of those. Are some of those even national?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get the area as well as
Yes.
anybody that's looking to move to Kansas.
Correct. And when we post on KASB, I'll use Oklahoma and Nebraska, for example. Oklahoma will automatically pick up and they'll say surrounding openings, so it will automatically show up on the Oklahoma board as well. And not just Oklahoma, but that's just an example.
Great. Let's make this easy for us.
You're so close to Nebraska, we will definitely reach out to, we have a great relationship with the Nebraska Superintendents, or School Board Association, so we'll reach out to them as well.
Thank you very much. All right.
So the original and the marketing materials and the announcement, are we good with tomorrow opening this up? Okay. And then on the online survey, we'll get it to, we'll actually ask you all to push it because you have the ability to touch all of your patrons. We'll have you put it on your social media page and anywhere else you want. I always encourage at least your high school kids to fill out the survey, and maybe even your middle school kids. It's pretty simple, in regards to, like, there's 7 questions. It's not going to take them an exceptionally long period of time. So, but I would definitely try to push to your high school kids, and it identifies them. So if high school kids, as they sometimes do, get fun with surveys, we're going to be able to separate that out. So hopefully they'll be honest and know what they are looking for. You guys laugh, but you all know exactly what I'm talking about. So that survey would run from the 26th through April the 4th. On April 9th, the focus groups, I would do the focus groups, and it would probably be an all-day schedule. Again, I will work with you all in regards to who we want in those focus groups. Typically, it would look like this. An elementary focus group, well, a focus group from each of your buildings. You have 4 buildings, so we would have 4 different focus groups, and it would be a representative of that building. So we would want parents in that, maybe even your site council is a great place to start. Typically, certified teachers, classified teachers, and kids if it's appropriate. So at the high school level, we usually put maybe student council president, or maybe a class president, or somebody that represents the building. So we would have 4 of those. Administrator group, I would typically do an administrator group, and then I would typically, if you don't get all your parents in your building groups, or if you just want a community group, or maybe you're going to have your, I'm thinking about your strategic planning process, you had numerous community members, so maybe community members to do a separate focus group. So we would have anywhere from 4 to 6 focus groups, and we'll get all that information, and then the report will compile from there. So I would come back on that April 9th to share the characteristics report with you all. And again, I just came up with that April 9th, so we need to know if that date works.
Are the focus groups meeting at the same time?
No, I do each one of them separately for 45 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll just focus group all day long. And then I'll compile, I usually have about an hour to compile a report, and then I will share that report with you the same day.
I see.
And then from that, you're going to take all the information from the survey, because you're going to get the survey results. You're going to get this focus report. And then from that, as a board, you're going to develop 5 to 7 characteristics that are really important for you all and your community to see in the next superintendent.
Very good.
So we won't be involved in the focus.
You will not have to attend the focus groups, that's correct. And actually, I always tell board members, you shouldn't, because you want them to speak freely. And I also don't ask for any names in focus groups, because I don't want them to say, well, Carrie at the high school said da 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 da. So I just keep it where they can say whatever they want. It's usually a fairly small group, and I'm taking notes, but I don't know who's saying. I don't know. I don't have a name to a face.
Perfect. Good idea. And then do we ask for volunteers to be on those, or do we pick?
It is by an invite. You would be asking for volunteers, but it is not just anyone shows up. It is a focused group. And it is a focus group because you want them to represent, like if you're picking 5 staff members out of the middle school, let's say, you want them to be a voice for that middle school, not just anyone who wants to show up and say. Now, everyone has a voice in that survey. That survey that goes out, that's everybody in the community's voice to have input. I will tell you, of all the superintendent searches I've done, the survey that goes to everybody and the focus groups, almost like 95% say the same thing. It's really very interesting. You rarely get different tangents. So will the 9th work from a district standpoint as well as meeting with you all that evening?
Is that an early release date?
It is. It is an early release, which might be better.
It might be good. You'd have to work around less schedules maybe. We would just need to, maybe if you're going to use high school kids, we'd want to do them early.
Do they all come here, or do you go to the schools?
I tend to go to the schools, but yeah. As long as I have time to get it all in, you're close enough. You get better participation if you go to them. I mean, obviously, it's easier if I sit here and they all come, but I would really prefer to go to their space.
So is it early release?
It is.
It is.
We also have testing that day, not school for ELA, but that'll just be in the morning. So, so an afternoon would work
Okay.
later at that time. Did you say it was early release?
Yeah.
Okay. Done that way?
That'd be all right.
Are you guys, I think we can make the 9th work. Are you, as a board, good to meet Wednesday evening, that 9th at 5?
Or at 6, I mean, with the focus, I could do 5 or 6.
That's a Wednesday again.
Yeah.
Let's keep it fine if you guys don't mind.
Right, that's fine. But didn't we talk about maybe doing it before our regular schedule?
That was on the next one.
Something else, okay.
So we're
Okay.
going to meet the 9th at 5.
9th at 5, all right. Got it.
And then we'll close it on the 11th. Honestly, I might close it, yeah, I'll keep it on the 11th.
And 5 PM will be that meeting.
And then on April 14th is when I'll bring the applications back to you, and you all decide who you're going to interview.
Okay.
And was that April?
That's the one we said 4:30, April 14th at 4:30.
Yeah.
And then interviews would happen. I'm just gonna look at this really quickly. You might be able to do them a little bit earlier if you wanted to, since we're doing the 4:14. Would you wanna interview 16, 17, 18? It would be Friday, it would be the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday prior to Easter.
I don't think we should do Good Friday.
No, I can't do Good Friday.
And I don't think people would want to come in.
So we'll leave it 21,
It was the
22.
15th, 16th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
You c-
Then-
The only
You'll be out
thing-
of town? Yeah.
And
And
then
get-
just leave it, and then have to do Thursday night. I just don't think we
Yeah,
should.
and that's Monday, Thursday,
So
so,
leaving
yeah.
it when?
The
Leave
week
it
of the
at what?
21st, depending on how many applicants you have.
25th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how much of the day each day?
So in that book, the larger book, actually, let's just look at that really quick. I think I would be good for you to see. On page. So starting on page 24 is the interview section, so you'll see some checklists there. You'll see some rubrics there. And I'm not seeing the schedule, but I know it's in here. Here it is. If you look on page 21, actually, nope, that's focus groups. Page 22. You'll see if you did a half-day schedule, but the formal interview with the board is almost always that evening. And we will do this as part of our meeting on the 14th. We'll finalize this, and potentially even on the 9th, we can discuss it as well. We'll finalize this schedule and what you all want to do. I will also be sharing with you salary recommendations, and that's really just, it's going to give you a comparison to like-sized districts, districts in your league, just so you know where you stand with that. So I'll be sharing that as well. I'm assuming in the past you've done something similar to Schedule 3, based on the size of the district. Renee, do you remember?
I remember I got here at 9 AM
And you left at 9 p.m.?
and I left, I think the interview finished a little after 8.
That was the same for me, and that's kind of that sample Schedule 3, and that's, for a district this size, that's what I would recommend, because you have 4 buildings.
So on April 9th, or 2 times, 5 and 6, April 9th.
It's going to be 5 o'clock.
And I will say on April 21st, that is a district in-service day here. So when you're thinking about that full, long day interview, which typically there are building tours involved, the Monday, the 21st might not be a good day.
So
It might have to be Tuesday, the 22nd.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Also on the 14th, Jeanette, just so you all know, that will need to be an executive session. And almost all of the time that I have with the board on that night will be executive session.
Okay.
Now, the 9th will be open meeting. And then, once you all have a candidate and have successfully negotiated that, then you'll call a special meeting. And I said on or before May 12th, I would encourage you to do it as soon as possible after that. I just always leave that open.
So will we get a final schedule?
Yes. I'm gonna send you, I will update all this and you'll have it before noon tomorrow. You're so good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
I guess we entertain a motion to adjourn then. Okay, second. Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Pass it unanimously. Good evening, everyone.